Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Excuse me! Taxi!
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, welcome back. So this pretty boy, Luigi Mangione, is he going to get away with killing a guy and no death penalty? It's not even on the table anymore? Luigi Mangione, you remember, right? It was, a year and a half ago? He killed that guy, allegedly. Brian Thompson, the healthcare CEO, right on 6th Avenue, right off of 6th Avenue in New York City, early one morning. They caught him about 3-4 days later in Pennsylvania. All kinds of evidence, open and shut case, really. And I don't understand this. They took the death penalty off the table. That no matter what happens to this guy, he's going to live. I'd like to bring in one of our favorites, Joe diGenova, former U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Joe, welcome back. What about this? First of all, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. Great. Thanks.
I appreciate that. We love you. So really, how can this be so dismissed so early? The guy did it. It's got to be on the table at least. I'm not saying the guy's got to die, but come on.
Well, the problem is the way the federal homicide statutes work. And in this case, in order to get the death penalty, you have to show that the crime was a crime of violence that involved the use of a gun. And in this case, the question is whether or not stalking is a crime of violence. And the judge ruled that under federal law, it is not. Now, there's difference of law in different circuits, federal circuits around the country. So the government is going to appeal this decision, and they're going to claim that the better law is that stalking is a crime of violence. I'll give you an example of why this is so important. When I was the U.S. Attorney in D.C., we had the Court of Appeals there rule that burglary was not a crime of violence. Now, that to me was insane, because if there's ever an opportunity for violence to occur, it's when you break into somebody's home or business. Eventually, we got Congress to amend the statute to say that burglary was a crime of violence. So the best thing that can happen here is a quick amendment to federal law, which Congress could do in a New York minute, to make stalking a crime of violence. But other than that, it's going to take an appeal to the Second Circuit, and they're going to have to rule that their law on this is wrong and that the better law is from the other circuits. Other than that, the judge did probably the right thing, given the state of law in the Second Circuit in New York.
Well, forgive me, but, I mean, wait a second. What about they're looking for a crime of violence? I mean, pulling the trigger, pointing at the guy's head, isn't that all the violence you need?
Well, that's not the way it works when you're talking about the death penalty. They have rules in the statute that require the application of the federal death penalty, requires certain additional factors besides the murder itself in order to enhance for the death penalty. Now, he's eligible for life without parole as the case currently stands, but that's obviously it's unacceptable to me, and that's why the court should hear an appeal, and they should overrule the judge. The judge is following the law as it exists in the Second Circuit, and she could not change the law without the Second Circuit doing it. And I think she expects an appeal and would welcome a change in the law.
I don't find the guy handsome. Everybody says he's so handsome, and you find him handsome? I don't understand the big deal.
I think Gavin Newsom finds him handsome.
Ooh, yes, indeed. All right. Hey, I want you to maybe you remember this voice from 2020. Okay, it's President Trump. Of course, you'll recognize that voice, but he's talking to somebody. Cut 5, if you don't mind. Cut 5.
Social media is big tech. Big tech is on your side, you know. I don't even know why you have a side, because you should want to have an accurate election. And you're a Republican.
We believe that we do have an accurate election.
No, I know you don't. No, you don't.
And Brad Raffensperger. Oh, we believe we do have. Now, I got to put this out. Every time we talk about the election, everybody's like, okay, we're going to be very nervous. We got to be like, oh boy, like we can relax and talk about the election. The FBI just essentially raided the Fulton County headquarters, I guess, where not exactly known for state-of-the-art civic affairs. And We all know that President Trump suspects voter fraud there. How do you feel about the FBI and what they can uncover? Was this done as a bona fide effort to find information, or is this just to satisfy President Trump, who's probably making a lot of noise about it? What do you think of this?
Well, it's the Fulton County electoral process has been suspect for a number of years. 2020 was just the latest example of Fulton County running roughshod over the election process. This was the Justice Department filed a civil suit to get these documents, and the county was resisting, which there's no reason in the world to resist. So they created and started a criminal case, and they issued a search warrant to get the documents that they couldn't get otherwise. And the search warrant was issued by a federal magistrate, and they got the documents they're wanting. I think they're still there. They're still in the process of gathering documents from the site. I have long suspected that there was criminality in Georgia, notwithstanding what Raffensperger said, and the governor said, Governor Kemp, who hated Trump. Both of them hated Trump. So the process goes on, and it's legitimate, and I hope that they come up with evidence to charge somebody.
You know, this is very interesting. I believe I caught Raffensperger lying. All right, now here's the example, and listen to the way he says it. All right, they ask him. Well, he's just talking on the press, and he's trying to bolster his credibility by saying, hey, I voted for President Trump twice. Cut 7, if you don't mind. Cut 7.
I talk to a lot of Republicans every day. I talk to people that were Goldwater Republicans, Ronald Reagan Republicans, Bush Republicans, and Trump Republicans, like myself. I voted for President twice.
All right. He stumbles over the word, number 1. Okay. I find it amazing. And then also, I looked in his book. Actually, they don't think people are going to read these books, but I read the book. And he accuses President Trump of deception for going back years before the election, that he lies, and he lies repeatedly, and he would have been lying for years before the election. Doesn't sound like a guy who voted for President Trump twice.
Well, I think Mr. Raffensperger has a real truth-telling problem. I agree with you. You can just tell the way the guy speaks and the way he acts that he's having real difficulty telling the truth. He's a public official. By the way, why did he write a book? Who cares what Raffensperger thinks or says about any public event? He writes a book? Really? How many did he sell?
It's very interesting. All of these key, potentially useful people got book deals. Cassidy Hutchinson, book deal. Fanone, Capitol Hill Cop, book deal. Dunn, book deal. This is a way, I believe, of compensating them for their usefulness, potentially, you know? I mean, it all seems very, very corrupt. Very corrupt. How do we get a great big conservative law firm? How do we get a big conservative law firm that's not afraid of the woke mob? Because we don't seem to have any of those right now.
Well, most of the big law firms, conservative or liberal, are interested in one thing, and that's making money in order to keep themselves functioning. The bottom line is the Justice Department is conducting investigations. I think they're going to be very successful. They've got the big one going on in Florida. They've got this one going on in Fulton County, Georgia, and there are other grand juries around the country. Grand juries take time. It's not easy, but I expect some people to be charged in Florida, and I do think there are going to be people who are charged in Georgia.
Really? Well,
yes.
Just one more thing about this, and I think I ran it by you before, but it's very interesting. You know, they raided Mar-a-Lago, the FBI, the Biden Justice Department, and it was a very dark day, and it really was kind of scary. And oh my gosh, what's happening? It's almost like they own the air in America. The FBI under President Trump conducts a select raid on a county office building. You know, I mean, and it's incredibly controversial. They're saying everybody should be scared, and we somehow feel rogue. We feel like, here, listen to this. This is Mark Warner, if you don't mind. This is cut 9, please. This is him responding to what the FBI did. Cut 9.
Yesterday, the Trump administration, in a move that should scare the hell out of all of us, went to seize election materials from the 2020 election that Donald Trump lost in Fulton County, Georgia.
Now, I'm not scared of that. I looked at the images. I'm not scared of that either. I mean, I was scared when they went into Mar-a-Lago. That seemed like a stretch, and I think Mark Warner should know that.
Well, you have to understand who Mark Warner is. He's a fake senator from the state of Virginia. He's a total lefty. He pretends to be a moderate. He pretends to be a fair guy. He uses moderate language, and then he says something stupid like he just said. This is all about hating Trump and not liking anything that involves the investigation of Democratic office holders. If it's Fulton County, it's Democrats, and Mark Warner is going to be against it. I always ignore Mark Warner because he's been hanging around for years. He's from Virginia. He gets a lot of good press from the Washington Post and the New York Times, but in fact, he's a lightweight.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.